The minority in parliament, civil society groups and various stakeholders have called on President Akufo-Addo to reshuffle his administration for optimum performance. The minority in this regard filed a motion of censure against the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta in a bid to get him out of government. Speaking to students of academic Citi University College on the topic, Thinking Critical Decisions in Decisive Moments as a Leader, as part of the university's efforts to nurture the next generation of African leaders, Mr. Mahama stressed, among others, for government to reshuffle its appointees.
You have to, after a while, take a look at the performance of your ministers, and based on the performance, you must decide to drop some people, and you can also decide to shift some people to other places. They are probably good, but they are not finding their feet in the ministry you send them. And so after observing them for a year or two, you see that, look, this person will do better here because of these qualities he has. And so you move him there and you bring somebody else. Aside from that, sometimes you take decisions to move people because you don't want them to create kingdoms in the ministries in which they are.
The former president added that corrupt government officials must be made to face the laws of the land for any infractions proved.
It's not as easy as you think it is. And sometimes the person who's been involved in corruption is somebody that you know very well, and probably somebody who's been a member of your team. But unfortunately, he's falling, by the wayside. You have to gather the courage and boldness to deal with it, to serve as a deterrent to everybody that, look, if it comes to this, I will take action. Unfortunately, that's part of the problem we're facing today, that one, the president cannot sack people who have been accused of corruption and so on and so forth.
He further stated that consistent borrowing on the part of the government has led to the current economic hardship in the country, which has compelled Ghana to go for an IMF program.
The investors and the bilateral donors were reluctant to release funds or to come in because they didn't believe that we could implement the homegrown fiscal consolidation program. And so I took it to them. I said, look, this is the program we brought. We are cutting expenditure, we're raising revenue, we're going to balance the budget and things. And they would just look at me and they didn't believe that we could do it. And so they still held on to their investments and the funds until one of them from DFID came to me and said, look, these guys are not going to invest or release any of the funds unless you go into an IMF program. There was that program that helped to balance out our books, restore macroeconomic stability. But unfortunately, we lost it again by excessive borrowing. As soon as this government came out of the program, they started going on to the Eurobond market for $3 billion, $3 billion, $3 billion, and eventually we all are in the economic ditch that we are.
Reacting on government's plans to freeze employment in the public sector, John Mahama says government should rather consider creating an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive.
But the burden is on the leadership to run the country in such a way that we grow the economy so that the private sector can throw up sustainable jobs. The private sector would have to grow. We pay lip service and say the private sector is the engine of growth. But if it's the engine of growth and it doesn't have petrol to even start, that engine is not going to work. And today, look at it. Start, stop, start, stop. Look at what has happened. At the beginning of the year, the cedi to the dollar was 6 cedis to $1. Today, it's about 14 cedis to $1. So it's wiped off almost 50%, more than 50% of the value of your capital. So if at the beginning of the year you had 1 million cedis, today the real value of your 1 million cedis is minus 54%. And so businesses suffer. It means all Ghanaian businesses are being set back. And some of them have their capital in bonds and things, and now they're going to get this Baba who has come to give everybody a haircut.